What's going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 5 of VEVE Investments. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about OMI versus NFTs. What's the better option, and is there even one? If you guys enjoy the content, make sure to like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get on with the episode. All right, guys, kicking it off, we're going to start off on the OMI side of things. The first point I have listed here is going to be OMI to NFT. Now, this was the original purpose of the token, was to be used as a method of currency on the VEVE app. So exciting to see that it seems to be, around the corner. We're going to be able to use our OMI tokens to purchase collectibles, as well as to sell and list our collectibles in OMI. So I definitely do see OMI to NFT bringing new money onto the platform. Next point here is going to be acquiring land. Now, obviously something a little bit down the line when they have the VEVEverse, but it is still something you want to consider when investing in the token. Obviously, you don't want to wait until that happens. You want to be investing prior to the occasion. But yeah, when they sell plots of land in the VEVEverse, you're going to likely be acquiring those plots of land with OMI tokens. And what land opens up is going to be opportunities for residual income. I see virtual land operating the same way as physical land. So, obviously with physical real estate, you have the opportunity of making money from the value of the property appreciating over time. Then also you have opportunities like renting out the property to earn residual income and cash flow from the property on a monthly basis. So I see the same thing happening within the VEVEverse or the metaverse. People owning their own land that goes up in value over time, depending on certain variables. But I do also see people renting out spaces, ad spaces, right? I can totally see somebody wanting to put up a billboard or something like that on somebody else's land, and they're paying the landowner in exchange for that advertising space and things like that. So a lot of opportunity with land. But again, land is definitely something that you want to consider now and not when it's too late. Next point is going to be the OMI utility program. So I went over this in the previous video, but the OUP is essentially going to distinguish certain levels of investors when it comes to the OMI token. So depending on the dollar value of the OMI you have staked in your portfolio will determine what tier you fall in. And depending on what tier you fall in, you're going to gain access to certain benefits within the VEVE app. Good example of this would be burning and renting out collectibles. And then the last point here is going to be staking to earn APY. So if APY is going to be annual percentage yield. For those of you guys who don't know what staking is, it's locking away your tokens for a specified time period in exchange for a particular reward or benefit. In this case, a percentage return based off how much that you're staking. An example of this would be Ascendx. Didn't really go too smooth, but Ascendx was the first platform that offered OMI token staking. They offered it at 56%. Unfortunately dropped it to 5%, which is when I took mine right out. That is something to look forward to down the line, is you're going to be able to lock away your tokens in exchange for a percentage return on your investment. Moving over to the VEVE side, guys, first point I'm going to talk about when considering, purchasing NFTs is going to be the Master Collector program. Now, this is going to be a video in and of itself. If you guys want me to make a video on this, make sure to comment down below. But the MCP is, it's very similar to that of the OMI utility program on the crypto side of things. So just like the OMI utility program is going to help distinguish certain levels of investors in the token, the Master Collectors program is going to help distinguish certain levels of collectors on the app. Depending on the rarities of collectibles you're holding, depending on the numbers of collectibles you're holding, depending on how long you've held certain collectibles for, this is all going to tie into your MCP rank or level on VEVE. Next is going to be rentability. This is a big thing in my eyes. Now, I want to be clear, I do not see this as just like easy money. I do think that, like anything involved in business, there's going to be, you're going to have a strategy involved to actually make this successful. I don't see you just posting your collectibles online to be rented and people just constantly rent them out. It's going to be very similar to that of running a business nowadays. You're going to have a strategy. You might have to put some marketing into it and things like that. You're going to have a customer base. You want to retain some of those customers and so on and so forth. But the potential for residual income, if the team does this right, I think is huge. The way I'm kind of looking at it in my head is, and take this as a grain of salt, guys, I want to be clear, this is all based off my own opinion, my own perspective, and speculation here, but a smart contract can execute automatically. So the way I look at it is like, say for example, I want to rent out my DeLorean. Somebody comes to me and says, hey, I want to take the DeLorean into the VEVE-verse. I want to drive it for 7 days. I would edit the parameters of that smart contract to transfer my DeLorean from my wallet ID to their wallet ID. I would then set a price parameter of, $10 a day for 7 days for a total of $70. Time expiration parameter for, 7 days ending on this date. And then the smart contract would automatically execute, where the DeLorean would go from my inventory to theirs, the money would go from their account to mine, and then at the end of that 7-day time period, that DeLorean would end right back up in my inventory. So if the team, and the only reason I'm including this in the video, guys, is I'm not trying to spread misinformation, but I want, if the team is listening to these videos, for them to consider stuff like this. If they can set up rentability in a way that's very fluid and smooth for us, I think there's huge potential for that down the line, especially if you're somebody who has hundreds of collectibles. Next point is going to be airdrop benefits. So again, it's a smaller point, but it is something to consider when investing in VEVE NFTs. Is there are specific licensors on the app that have already rewarded their collectors. The most recent one is going to be the Golden Moments finale. Don't even get me started about how entitled some people are about that drop, but we got airdropped the Disney logo if you got the Aladdin lamp. Another example would be Rewind Collective coming out saying they want to airdrop Pride holders. It did seem a bit unplanned, so I'm not expecting anything from the VEVE team anytime soon. But we did also have confirmation from the team about the David Warhol airdrop for anyone who participated in the auction. And I understand that there's going to be a certain type of person that's going to be annoyed when I say this, but airdrops do open potential for free money. That's a fact. You pay $40 for the Aladdin lamp, you get a free Disney logo that you're going to be able to sell for money. Same thing with the Andy Warhol. You might have placed a bid on the auction. You didn't have to pay for it because you didn't win the auction, but you're getting a free piece that you can sell for money. So again, something to consider when investing on the VEVE side of things. Next point is going to be exclusive access. So again, Amar Singh, I'm a big fan, guys, of the Givenchy pieces, so you'll see me bringing that up as an example from time to time, but Amar Singh did come out saying that they want to run some events for Pride holders in the future. Another example would be the Marvel Mighties. I can't remember who it was on the team, but there has been previous discussions about how those pieces may unlock certain areas of the VEVE-verse or the virtual space that you're able to use these pieces in when they're gamified. And that to me gets me thinking, okay, well, if you have certain access to a certain area, well then in that area, there's going to be certain experiences, right? There's going to be certain probably achievements for you to unlock, right? Certain rewards or benefits or things like that, which again, bringing me back to rentability, are all incentives for somebody to want to rent out that piece, even if it's just for a day to experience stuff like that. And then last point is going to be interoperability. This is a big one, obviously, for a lot of people in the community right now. The way I look at it is history tends to repeat itself, right? And when you look back in 2020, when NFTs kind of started popping off and you started hearing that term a lot, you have people spending 8-9 figures for pixelated PNGs and pictures of bored monkeys. They're doing this for one of two reasons. The first one is because CryptoPunks, and that's what I'm referring to, they were the first NFTs that were ever minted on the blockchain. They were minted back in 2017, and it did take 3 years for people to notice that. The second one is that it's tied to status, and a lot of things in society are nowadays, right? People posting photos of mansions and cars that they don't even own on Instagram. People changing their profile photos to pictures of CryptoPunks or Bored Apes. That is simply just to go, hey, I own this, and it's worth a lot of money. When it comes to interoperability, I cannot wrap my brain around the fact that, somebody who's willing to spend that amount of money on a pixelated PNG because it's the first, or because they want status associated with it. It's only a matter of time before people realize that these are the first appearances of these major characters on the blockchain offered by and licensed by these major corporations. I can't see somebody willing to spend less for a premium licensed piece like Steamboat Willie or Walton McKee or even the Disney logo now. And I'm talking before even any of this stuff has added utility. Because at the end of the day, the CryptoPunks and the Bored Apes, absolutely those teams can add utility, and the Bored Ape team is to their pieces. However, at the time where people are spending 8 and 9 figures on these pieces, they had no utility and there was no talkie utility. The only use case for those pieces was looking at them, showing them to friends, and just keeping them in your wallet. That's pretty much all you could do with them. Right now, you could even argue that pieces on VEVE already have more utility than that. You could put them in your showroom and you can augment them into reality, right? But yeah, those would be the main things that I would consider when investing on the VEVE side of things. Now, I do want to talk about burns, guys, because burning both OMI tokens and collectibles is obviously something that's offered on both sides. So if we look at the burns, guys, you know, let's talk about the OMI side of things first. Tokens are going to be burned based off a percentage of the primary sales on drops, the secondary market sales in the app. We do also have a third-party ecosystem of apps that have been created from community members as well that are actively burning the token. And again, not happening right now, but it is something to consider now and beforehand, and that is land sales, which will likely be burning the token as well. Moving over to the VEVE side of things, mint sizes are going to be reduced based off of two things. So the team, and David specifically, did come out in decon saying that they're planning on burning any unsold collectibles. So that is going to be reducing the mint sizes of those pieces. But then the second option here is for any owners who qualify in the OMI utility program to burn collectibles. They can choose to burn their own pieces as well, which is going to reduce their circulating supply. So one thing to add there is, you know, individuals like Ray Fixie, who from my understanding has a lot of pride pieces, individuals like Randy Chavez, who has a lot of alligator Lokis. You have to consider what some of these individuals might do with them holding, you know, a certain percentage of some of these circulating supplies. Alrighty, guys, that concludes episode 5 of VEVE Investments. You know, what it really comes down to is your own perspective and goals behind your own investment. I see value on both sides of VEVE, that being the crypto and then the NFT side. So I equally invest on both sides. But again, comes down to your own perspective and what you want to get out of your own investment. If you enjoy the content, make sure to like and subscribe, guys. YouTube did just change their algorithm the week after I started my channel, so I'm trying to figure out the new algorithm. But in the meantime, it would really mean a lot to me if you guys can share this with the community. As for episode 6, guys, make sure to tune in on Thursday.